That's March's Vineyard.
Yeah, March's Vineyard.
March's.
Yeah.
They're only open 1 month a year.
Yeah, March.
And that's where they do all their vining?
It's like, yep.
Hang on. Well, welcome back to this episode of Hang On with Nick and Blake. Now that's a good idea. Finally, we get to the heart of it.
Boom, shakalaka.
Yeah.
Boom, bam, bam, clickety clack. We're good. Do you think if you converted an airplane, like a large airplane, like a
Hercules?
No, bigger than that. Like a
What was the one from the Aviator?
Oh, the Spruce Goose?
Yeah, Spruce Goose.
No, so let's say you converted like a 747 into 20 bedrooms.
Okay, we did this one already.
We did?
Yeah, then you fly a mile up?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, so you convert it into 20 bedrooms. You have a bar, maybe some restaurants, so like food on board, room service type food or whatever. And you book a week on this plane, and it takes you to 7 different destinations or 6 different destinations.
Does it fly at night? So you get off in the morning?
Yeah, so it flies at night. So you get back on the plane, you go to bed, it takes off, you go to sleep, and it lands somewhere else.
That'd be cool in like Europe, where I'm like, I want to spend a day at each of the cities just to say I've been there, and then never have to go back.
I mean, even in the States, I feel like that could be pretty...
Where are you going in the States that you care? Or that the flight is so long that you're going to sleep?
I mean, the flights would be longer in New York. I mean, the flights would be longer than in Europe.
That's true.
Well, it could be even...
But those are different countries. So, like, lodging across country seems more difficult to me.
Yeah,
Maybe
I'm just thinking of we're kind of on this all-inclusive kick.
Yes.
Something like this plane, you pay for an all-inclusive ticket on, it's in New York one day, it's in D.C. the next, it's in Atlanta, it's in Dallas, it's in L.A., it's in Seattle, it's back in New York.
But the longest plane ride in America is what, 3 or 4 hours tops?
No, from New York to L.A. are we including Hawaii or no?
No.
Okay.
Let's do the continent.
New York to L.A. I think is 5 or 6 hours.
I don't think it's 6.
I think it's greater than 4.
Okay.
No, that's not the point. The point is like you have all day in Seattle. You come back to the airport. You don't have to wait in line. You don't have to wait you're not flying to like.
But that's just so the appeal of that is me not having to go to the airport, which we talked about, and I'm a fan.
Well, yeah, but so
have you seen the overnight buses that they have that do this? Where you rent a bed.
Yeah,
everybody tells you to be quiet.
But my idea is not necessarily just like, hey, you sleep while you're traveling. It's like also you're lodging. Like I don't want these rooms to be like piece of crap rooms. It's just like, hey, I kind of want to see all these places. I'll have lodging when I get there and keep all my stuff. I don't have to move my stuff. I don't have to drive to the airport every single time.
Right.
It flies there. It lands at maybe 2 a.m. or whatever. Or maybe even, you sleep on the plane and it takes off at 6 a.m. while you're on the plane. You can kind of like wake up as the plane's like taking off and everything. And then on your 3-hour flight to your next city, you have breakfast, you have some mimosas, you land at, 9 o'clock and you're ready to go.
I'm out. I don't want to be up in the air sleeping.
Well, maybe you don't. That's what I'm saying. Maybe you don't necessarily sleep while you're flying.
I think I'm not scared of flying, and I don't mind being on planes. I always find them frustrating. Everything about airplanes frustrates me.
I think that's kind of I think a lot of that is because you're having to go through the airlines and you're having to go through the major airports. Mm-hmm. This would not be doing that.
Yeah.
You'd have your own little room.
A small cup. I get a small napkin. I get a small bathroom. It's terrible.
This would be your own room. It would be expensive. Like this wouldn't be something that like.
And it's more expensive.
I mean, this wouldn't be something that the average person would go and do. I don't think. But I don't know. Just a thought.
I would rather it be something where I pack my bags in the evening, save for like, let's say pajamas and what I'm going to wear the next day. Everything else is in a bag. Someone comes and grabs the bag. And in the morning, I wake up, put on my day clothes, throw everything in a backpack, hop on like a 4-person plane, and go from like North Florida to like mid Florida and stay at another place. and my bags are there. Somebody drove it down, and they drive down like 20 people's bags, and I just have like a small plane that just shuttles me throughout the day.
And I do think that there's a lot more market. I think it's an underutilized market. The like smaller,
the small plane,
small plane market. So, because I totally agree. If there were a service where I could just fly from here to New York City on a plane that carried 8 people, and I could buy a ticket for $100, I'd do that every time.
What I'm saying is,
or
short distances. Because
well, here in New York City is a short distance for me. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, you're saying fly to New York?
Yeah, or like, let's say...
What I'm saying is you have 5 different beach homes at 5 different beaches in Florida, and I get to hop every other day to a different one, and I get to see more of Florida.
I'd say that. Wouldn't it be cool if you had some sort of offer where you could include like a private chartered flight from the beach house to somewhere, from...
more populated, where you can shuttle people down.
Yeah, or... Yeah, exactly. So you could get a cheap flight from... You got a flight into Orlando, or you got a flight into Miami or something,
and then
because it was cheaper, or Atlanta even, because it was cheaper, and now I could just shuttle you there and it'd be pretty cheap. But I've talked about this, here in the summertime, popular places to go, or like the Cape. We've talked about the Cape because you didn't know what the Cape was.
It's March's Vineyard.
Yeah, March's Vineyard.
March's.
Yeah.
They're only open 1 month a year.
Yeah, March.
And that's where they do all their vining.
It's like, yep, they do a lot of vining down there. But like Block Island, the beach, like people go to the beach, and there are beaches in the Northeast. Any of them are 3 hours away minimum. So if there were a shuttle service that, is a plane and it carried.
Now what I want to do is I just want to get a float plane, and I want to be like 10 miles off the beach, wherever the property drops off, and just have a regional airport where everybody hops on. You fly to the ocean, land in the ocean. You have like a small pier or something, or you just drive up right to it, drop everybody off, and then you'll come pick them up later.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I'm talking about.
Man, that'd be great.
They do have there's a sort of similar service to this. I forgot what it was called, where they fly out of New York City, Manhattan, and they fly to like Block Island or Nantucket, I can't remember, in float planes, and they just land and then drop you off like at the dock, and then, but yeah, I think that is an utilized market, or an served market. Like I think if there were, and you actually see there's several apps that are trying to come out that are kind of like the Uber for small planes. But I think there would be a huge market for 5 to 10 passenger airplanes, and you're flying people to short, little, like relatively local destinations.
I agree.
Because if I could go and I could spend $150 to fly to Block Island instead of driving for 4 hours.
And let's say I knew what that was, I would too.
Yeah.
Is it a famous island?
Yeah, it's off of Long Island. It's like a party island. I don't know. It's a popular place for people to go in the summertime. Or like, what's somewhere in where like St. Louis to where's somewhere that people might want to go, like Lake
anywhere else
in like Lake of the Ozarks, like a place where people go and like visit in Branson, Missouri. I'm trying to think of things
this is like I have to go on vacation. I have $45 in my wallet. Let's go to the Ozarks or Branson.
I thought Lake of the Ozarks was like a nice place with like a...
It's a very large man-made lake. So there are nice places and not nice places.
Haven't
you seen the movie yet or the show?
No.
Okay.
I don't watch a lot of TV.
It's all right.
The Northeast the East Coast would be great for this because there's tons of places where you're really close to. But for instance, like if I want to fly from Albany to Boston, it's going to call, like I'm going to have to be on this plane. I'm going to have to sit through all this security. It's going to take me longer to get to the airport, get to security, and do all that than it would be if I could just drive there. Yeah. But if there was like a smaller commuter type plane where they sold seats for $150 a piece, it was like a smaller local airport, and I could literally just like kind of drive up. Maybe this charter service had like a van that picked people up, and it's like, hey, they picked me up, they put me on the plane, I don't have to wait through security, I get to Boston in 30 minutes instead of a 3-hour drive.
Yeah, that's true.
I would be someone who would pay to do that.
Yeah, I think you could definitely get a lot of money on like the weekends or something. Like a Friday evening, you could fill up a plane pretty quick.
One of the ones I've thought of is from New York City to Buffalo for all the tourists in New York City who want to go see Niagara Falls. Like, how many people visit New York and like, I want to see New York City and Niagara Falls. They don't realize that those two places are like 5.5 hours apart.
Yeah.
Like, I think growing up, I thought Niagara Falls was like just somewhere outside of New York City.
Right.
Because I'm not from here. Similar to how people in Las Vegas, they have the flights down to the Grand Canyon to see the Grand Canyon.
What I was thinking.
I think if you had a flight that was just like, hey, we'll fly you to Niagara Falls. We'll fly you kind of like over Niagara Falls so you can see it from the air. We'll drop you off. You got 3 hours. We have a tour bus waiting. We'll give you
that's all you need.
A 20-minute tour.
It's water. Yep. It fell down.
And then we'll fly you back. I think people would pay $300 or $400 a person to go do a tour of Niagara Falls.
I think so.
And I think you'd be packed every single day, especially in the summertime. Mm-hmm. Maybe do discount rates for the Maid of the Mist if people wanted to do that. You know what I'm saying? Get in with
I did
them.
it. It was a lot of fun.
I think that would be like a huge... The thing with that smaller kind of local is you kind of have to pick a population of people and then a popular destination for that population of people.
Yeah, I agree. Because you need the volume of people getting in the plane, and you need destinations to actually
New York City to Buffalo for Niagara Falls. I think that's, you have a bunch of tourists who would, there's a lot of them who would probably be willing to spend a day to go see Niagara Falls and then come back. Provide them like a bag lunch, you'd have like a waiting list of people to get on the thing.
That'd be cool.
Hang on. Thank you for listening to our show. To participate, send your comments or business ideas to thehangonpodcast@gmail.com. Keep us motivated by subscribing to us on YouTube and iTunes. And tell a friend. This is the Hang On Podcast. It was an honor. See you next week.